Thank you, Tech, with the 21 months. Thank you. I took that computer home yesterday for that guy, and I left this here. Because I'm a genius. What's going on? You doing okay? I really want to do a just like a quick short this morning that I know no one is going to watch. Actually, I recorded one last night. Let's cut over to this. It's on my home PC. So when you sign up for where is it? This thing. When you sign up for an account here, it does this thing where there's a problem here, but it doesn't tell you what the problem is. And if you hit enter, nothing happens. Alright, so if you have an old Dell uses partially ATX motherboards, meaning that some of them will fit, some of them will not. And it's trial and error to figure out which of them will work. Your biggest problem is going to be power supplies. So give me, like, Logitech, you're literally $1 billion company. Give me an indication of what is going wrong here. Don't just, like, when I click off, oh, you please enter your date of birth. How about you say, please enter your date of birth in day, month, year format? Because that's all the problem is. That's literally it. In America, we write month, day, year. But Logitech apparently is like, nah, F you. This Logitech creative thing, actually pretty nice. Actually pretty nice. Like, it's not even that. It's tell me what's wrong. So here's the thing that I would very much like to cover. And it is AI. That's the AI. What's it called? AI overviews. There's a site, House Fresh. They wrote a blog about this generative AI, where you can ask a generative AI, which is what Google uses to pump out that first result, and it will give you 3 different responses depending on how you word your question. They will literally contradict each other and recommend a product that does not exist. Which is something you gotta freaking worry about. Hi, Emily. Thank you for subscribing. 31 months. Correct. Yeah, very aware. Yeah, Emily. Take my breath away. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Right now, the state of Florida is like, F you, Chris. Just F you in particular. That's my office. Exactly. That is what is happening. All right, I'm going to work on this slightly. And then we're going to try and put some components on a motherboard. First, and adjust some locations here. Peter Labreth.
Better on iterations per second. So this card took a total time of 269 seconds to render those 60 images, and so total time is better. Oh. So total time is better. Nope. So total time for this card was the images, and so total time is better. Nope. The images, so total.
Take my breath away. Is that Mariah Carey? No, of course not. Why would it be Mariah Carey? Oh. That's fun. Why is that the first question you ask, Emily? Here you go, Tech. You like answering random questions, right? Emily, I haven't done anything today yet. So why are you asking about tomorrow? Like, Emily, what are you having for dinner on Monday night? Like, why don't you ask what I'm going to do today? Yeah, so I don't know either. She probably is having kebabs, probably lamb kebabs. Anyways, Tech, should high-speed rail exist in the United States? Okay. So my reasoning. Oh, thank you, Emily. I'm going to work on this video a little bit, and then we're going to work on 2 laptops. My reasoning for not having high-speed rails is that people will just cross train tracks when they don't see a train coming, yet there is still the arms down. So, yeah. Man, if we could find a way to make rails viable again, that'd be awesome. I'll counter you, Ramrod, by saying America used to have rails. It used to be the primary mode of transport until we got cars. And with advances in technology, we could have just expanded our rail networks and removed, I don't know, traffic from places when you need to go from place to place. But the problem comes down to when you get to where you're going, if they have a crappy transit system, you're never going to be able to do anything. Shareholders Mm-hmm. This is Chris. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I know who you are. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Alrighty. Have a good one. Bye. I'm gonna say this. I'm not scared to get old. I'm scared of losing my mind. Because that lady asked me where she can buy a new tablet. I said, I gave you a card for a company that has them. And then she says, okay, but where can I buy a new tablet? It's like, Morning, Lee.
Meaning that it's a pretty solid card for just cheap. Pretty solid card for just cheap AI stuff. For just cheap AI stuff. For real AI stuff. For real. So for real world testing, I played Dune Awakening. Stuff. For real world testing, I played Dune Awakening on the recommended settings for 3 hours to see the experience. So for real world, why can't I say that? I'm having trouble saying
For real world.
So for real world testing, I played Dune Awakening on recommended settings for 3 hours just to see what the experience was like. Again, AI stuff. For real world testing, I played Dune Awakening on recommended settings for
Real world. I was saying real world. It was the real world. Take my breath away. Hoo-ha. Hoo-ha. Take my breath away. Real world. Real world. World world. Oh, okay. I will put the video footage I need to turn off my sign, like permanently. have the plastic inside, that would be actually terrible.
3 hours. Just to...
Can't be said I'm an early bird. It's 10 o'clock before center one.
I played Dune Awakening on recommended settings for 3 hours, just to see what the experience was like. Again, it was all done at 1080p on this same computer. Overall, the experience was good. Very little render lag or buffering or anything like that. No weird visual artifacts. FPS stayed pretty locked in, like an 85 to 125 FPS.
I am so happy for you, Emily. It's just, you know, it's incredible that you're able to do that all by yourself. I know exactly what she means. So in Diablo, the end game activities is called the pit. And she's able to do up to level 40 in the pit all by herself.
FPS stayed. FPS stayed. Good. Very little render lag or buffering or anything like that. No weird visual artifacts. FPS. For real-world testing, I played Dune Awakening on recommended settings for 3 hours, just to see what the experience was like. Again, it was all done at 1080p on this same computer. Overall, the experience was good. Very little render lag or buffering or anything like that. No weird visual artifacts. FPS stayed pretty locked in, like an 85 to 125 FPS window, depending on where I was and what was going on in the game. And honestly,
$42, $545.
where I was and what was going on in the game. And honestly, if you told me that I was playing on such an old card, I probably wouldn't have believed you, seeing as the game came out a month ago. It stayed extremely stable, and honestly, it was a very, very playable experience. So if you're in a situation where you have an older card like this and you're actively out there wondering what the experience, so if so if you're in a situation, so if you're in a situation where you have an older card like this and you're actively out there wondering what the experience, is like on some of the newer cards, you're not really missing out on much. So the final number that I wanted to wrap into this was the performance value, which how much. So the final number that I wanted to wrap into this.
Emily, you need to rewrite that. I'm going to start offering that. Couple things I got to do. This. I need to reply to these reviews. I got a 1-star review? Yeah, it's gone. It'll be gone, hopefully. Yeah, I gotta revitalize this. Gotta keep going. I know. All right, hey, I'm down. It's 125 for the build, not the freaking 500 that guy had to pay down in Sarasota.
Was the performance value, which was one of the questions we wanted to ask. So what does that mean in the context of this video? So out of all the cards tested, for the money that we spent, how much performance we got out of the card? So what does that mean in the context of this video? So out of all the cards tested, for the money that we spent, how much performance we got out of the cards based on how much we paid? Nope, that's very, very, very convoluted and confusing. So the final number that I wanted to wrap into this was the performance value, which works out for the 3060 at a cost of $280 to be about 61%. And the performance value, the reason that number is so low is because we had an available $350 to spend. We only spent a percentage of it. And of that percentage, this card performed 61% as well as the other cards performed in all of the tests. So there are definitely cards that if you have that full $350 to spend, are definitely better cards. Overall, if you have a budget of under $300 for a video card, it really is hard not to recommend this or the 3060 Ti. They are great.
So you have to remember the context of that, Lee. These are video cards that are under $350.
They have a lot of inbuilt, already developed driver and video game.
Because the one, like, and it's the 6750 XT, and then the B580, and then the 4060 Ti.
They have a lot of inbuilt, already developed driver and video game support out there. They work very well with AI image generation. And if your overall build is going to be under 800 bucks, like there really is not another choice that I can honestly make for this. One caveat to this is if you're looking to get into the AI space, and you're trying to figure out how all of that works, if you have a much larger build budget for the rest of your computer, getting 2 or 3 of these cards and putting them into the same computer and just ripping out AI stuff, this card can perform pretty well. I would shoot for the 3060 Ti variant or any, really realistically, any card that has more memory than the 8 gig cards. So just keep that in mind. But honestly, if you're already in the AI space, there's a good chance you spent way more than this on literally everything. So you're not going to be like pinching pennies when it comes to this. Because if you're generally already have the knowledge and you're genuinely trying to get into the space, these cards are overall, they're pretty solid. So honestly, if you're already in this space, then there's a good chance you're already spending way more money. Because if you're generally already have the knowledge and you're genuinely trying to get into this, really realistically, any card that has more memory than the 8 gig cards. So just keep that in mind. But honestly, if you're already in the AI space, there's a good chance you spent way more than this. So honestly, if you're already in this space, then there's a good chance you're already spending way more. just keep that in mind. But honestly, if you're already in the AI space, so honestly, if you're already in this space, then more memory than the 8 gig cards. So just keep that in mind. But honestly, if you're already in the AI space, but honestly, in mind. So honestly, if you're already in this space, then there's a good chance you're already spending way more money on video cards than the 3060 and the 3060 Ti. So this is kind of a moot point. But if you are in the middle space where you have some knowledge and you're looking to expand
Good,
your
Emily.
AI card selection, then the 3060 and the 3060 Ti variants, they're going to be the way to go for sure. So overall, this card comes in 5th place based on all of the scores and just overall costs and everything, which, I mean, it's not really a big surprise. We're talking about the oldest card, the least expensive card, and like I said, if your budget is under 800 bucks, it's a good way to go. Now, next up, we're going to talk about not a so next, 800 bucks, that's a good way to go. Now, next up, so next, I tested the Intel Arc B580 12 gigabyte. So next, I tested the Intel. Intel Arc B580 12 gigabyte, which we picked up for 325 bucks. Which we picked up for 325 bucks. And boy, was the immaturity of this card apparent. It performs solidly across almost all of the synthetic tests, but when you actually start playing newly released games, some of the shortcomings of this card become apparent, which it's one of those things where you know the longer that this card is available and out in the public, you're going to get better and better driver support just across the board, and performance overall will improve. Perfect example is when we get into some of the actual real world testing that I did. The day after I got done testing, there was a driver release specifically for this card that increased overall in-game performance by about 10%. So let's start with our synthetic benchmarking. In Steel Nomad, we got an average score of 3057, which is second on our list. times. We got an average score of 3057, which is second on our list.
Good morning. How are you? From? Huh? By doing what? Luke? Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because he couldn't move it. Mm-hmm. Who was the message from? Okay. Oh, honey. Honey, honey, honey. That's fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's because you're not. Yeah, honey. Your face doesn't hide much about the way you feel. You're awesome. Well, good luck. And that means that I'm gonna be home. Mm, I'm probably gonna lose power here, guys. So the stream's probably gonna go down. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was pretty bad. Uh, oh, it is pouring and there's lightning. It's literally the only cloud in the sky. Okay. Um, so that means that I am literally going to be home before you every single day. Oh yeah, you definitely will. But my point is, don't expect me to, start cooking before you get home ever. Just making sure that you're clear on that. No, we do it together. That's a great question. I have to go. I love you. Bye. It's already 10:30. I got two and a half hours left here. That was pretty. I don't have a problem cooking, but like she gets angry at me if I don't start cooking before she gets home. Which, guess who's not going to start cooking before she gets home because I'm not screwing up dinner and getting yelled at. This guy. Yeah, it's literally one single cloud.
Let's start with our synthetic benchmarking. In Steel Nomad, we got an average score of 3057, which is second on our list. In Time Spy, the average score was 21220.
I'll check my whiskey. I messed up somewhere. $30.60. $30.60.
Which is second on our list. In Time Spy, the average score was 21220.
Swing low.
Was 20. Was 20. FPS of 142. One 225 with an average FPS of 142, which is up first on this list. That is again an indication the average score was 21,225 with an average FPS of 142, which is up in first on this list. That is again an indication of the fact that this card has more memory and is more modern than some of these other cards. In actual in-game benchmarking, Cyberpunk game benchmarking, Cyberpunk 2077 with RT off. We got an average FPS of 105, which is good for second place, but it's as soon as you turn frame gen and RT off, this card falls all the way down to 70 FPS, which is second to last. XESS is good, but in a game that is designed around NVIDIA's upscaling and frame gen model, you can really see where this game just kind of struggles. So in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the B580 shines once again. It's an older title. It just kind of struggles. So in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the B580 shines once again. It's an older title that uses video memory to handle just about everything. So more memory is more gooder. And we see 192 FPS for second place finish. In Black Myth Wukong with RT off and no frame gen, the B580 comes.
Oh my goodness.
I was expecting the B580 to have issue to have issue to have
All right,
expecting the B580 to have issue with some of the more modern titles, but Intel has had time to work on this and release drivers. This game's been out for a little bit now, and I was just in Black Myth Wukong with RT off and no frame gen. The B580 comes in dead last. I was expecting the B580 to have issue with some of the more modern titles, but
Toasty.
Intel has had time to work on this and release drivers. This game's been out for a little bit now, and I was just hoping for better numbers in this. When we turn all of the ray tracing and frame gen stuff back on, we end up seeing 58 FPS with lows down at 52, which is actually a pretty narrow stuff back on. We end up seeing 58 FPS with lows down at 52, which is actually a pretty narrow window, which is nice, which means if you do play this game, you're still going to be under 60 FPS, but you will have a more like streamlined and smooth feeling while playing the game, where you're not getting sudden dips down to like 30 or 20 FPS. I need to say that whole thing again because I said the wrong thing. So I was hoping for better numbers just across the board. So we end up seeing 58 FPS lows. So I was hoping to see better numbers across the board. So we see an average of 58 FPS. 80 to have issue with some of the more modern titles, but Intel has had time to work on this and release drivers. This game's been out for a little bit now, and I was just hoping for better numbers in this. When we and I was just hoping for better numbers in this. So I was hoping to see better numbers across the board. So we see had time to work on this and release drivers. This game's been out for a little bit now, so I was hoping to see better numbers across the board. So we see a little bit now, so I was hoping to see better numbers across the board. So a little bit now, so I was hoping to see better numbers across the board. So we see an average of 58 FPS with lows down at 52. Then once we FPS for second place finish. In Black Myth Wukong with RT off and no frame gen, the B580 comes in dead last. I was expecting the B580 to have issue with some of the more modern titles, but Intel has had time to work on this and release drivers. This game's been out for a little bit.
Yeah, Emily, I do.
So
I
was
just
hoping to
said
see better numbers
that I'm going to
across
work on this, and
So
then
we
I will
see
work
an
on
average
computers.
of 58 FPS with lows down at 52. Then once we turn frame gen and RT on, we don't see a massive bump in performance, the card is still in kind of last place with this, but we're seeing 62 FPS with lows of 54%. There is no massive bump in performance, which keeps the card in dead last. With T on, we don't see a there is no massive bump in performance, which keeps the card in dead last with an average FPS with lows of 54 FPS. On, there is no massive bump in performance, which keeps the card in dead last with an average of 62 FPS with lows of 54 FPS. The window between those two FPS is kind of narrow though, which is somewhat nice. You're still going to average across the board under 60 FPS, but you're not going to see super low dips that are going to be jarring and taking you out of the experience of what you're doing. In Red Dead Redemption 2, we are seeing the Jekyll and Hyde that is this card. Is somewhat nice. You're still going to average across the board under 60 FPS, but you're not going to see super low dips that are going to be jarring and taking you out of the experience of what you're doing. In Red Dead Redemption In Red Dead Redemption 2, we are seeing the Jekyll and Hyde that is this card. With everything else that this card has to offer, I am really seeing the potential and also the drawbacks of this card. So the average FPS is 120, which is outstanding. It's the highest FPS total we scored with all of the cards, but the lows in this were at 31. Which, if you're actively playing this game and you're averaging, let's say, a smooth 60 FPS, and suddenly your frame rate is dropped in half, you're going to feel that, and it's going to be like, oh, what just happened? Again, this comes down to a maturity issue. I feel like the longer
The sleepies are hitting me, guys. The sleepies are hitting. Son of a... So we remember that little storm that we were seeing before? That was just like, F you, Chris. Well, it's bigger now.
FPS is 120, which is outstanding. It's the highest FPS total we scored with all the cards, but the lows in this were at 31, which if you're actively playing this game and you're averaging...
What word? What word did I almost say? Look at my butt. You can kiss it, Rim.
Go, go, go!
I want to go see Superman.
Let's say a smooth 60 FPS, and suddenly your frame rate is dropped in half, you're going to feel that, and it's going to be like, oh, what just happened? Again, this comes down to a maturity issue. I feel like the longer this card exists, the more you're going to see less and less titles have that problem. So let's talk about the AI stuff. This card potentially will be great once the support gets there. But right now, it is not compatible with Stability Matrix, and you have to install a specific tool from Intel plus a bunch of plugins just to get it to work. And sure, it can do it, but with the amount of video memory that this has, at some point, once this card becomes like more of a mainstream thing, availability becomes higher, and the prices start to settle on them, and we start to see companies do crazy things because Intel's letting people do whatever they want with this card, like putting 2 GPUs on a single card, you're going to see support for this card come way up in the AI space, and you're going to see this card be possibly one of the best non-90 series cards for doing AI stuff, because when you can toss 2 CUDA cores, because when you can toss 2 GPUs and a bunch of memory at a process in a single PCI slot, companies are going to go wild for that. So unfortunately, because of that, this card scored a DNF in the AI stuff. So moving on, PCI slot, companies are going to go wild for that. So unfortunately, because of that, this card scored a DNF in the AI stuff. So moving on to Dune Awakening. This was my experience actively playing on this card for the first time. I had one of the A770 cards that I ended up selling to a customer. After putting it in a build and doing some benchmarking with it, but I never got a real large amount of time to sit and play with just with the card, on the card, in an actual game. Which leads me to saying, when a game first comes out, you're really going to have a kind of a mixed bag experience with this card. There are moments where you can clearly see how much better this card can be. The overall visual fidelity is better. The frame rates are much higher. But then, out of nowhere, you'll be
Have fun, man.
kind of a mixed bag experience with this card. There are moments where you can clearly see how much better this card can be. The overall visual fidelity is better. The frame rates are much higher. But then, out of nowhere, you'll be out of nowhere you'll be slapped in the face. Where the game gets super, the overall visual fidelity is better, the frame rates are much higher, but then out of nowhere you'll be slapped in the face where the game gets super choppy and borderline unplayable for moments, and then you'll get these weird visual lighting artifacts that just pop up. That have existed. But then, it's a bad experience with this card. There are moments where you can clearly see how much better this card can be. The overall visual fidelity is better. The frame rates are much higher. But then, out of nowhere, you'll be slapped in the face where the game gets super choppy and borderline unplayable for moments. And then you'll get these weird visual lighting artifacts that just pop up that have existed since the A770. Like, I believe Halo was the first game, Halo Infinite was the first game where those artifacts really started showing just up everywhere. But at the same time, I want to say that it is an immaturity thing with this card and how they handle lighting, but they should have had enough time by now to gotten that figured out. Maybe it's just an underlying issue that they have to work with developers on to get sorted. But overall, this card, like I would say, out of all of the cards in Dune Awakening, performed the worst. That being said, like I would say, by now to got but at the same time,
thank you, Emily.
I want to say that it is an immature. I want to say that it is an immaturity thing with this card and how they handle lighting, but they should have had enough time by now to gotten that figured out. Maybe it's just an underlying issue that they have to work with developers on to get sorted. But overall, this card, like I would say, out of all of the cards in Dune Awakening, performed the worst. That being said, they released a driver update the next day that brought FPS and just overall stability up significantly. And if you go online, you can find a lot of details. I want to say that it is an immaturity thing with this card and how they handle lighting, but they should have had enough time by now to gotten that figured out. Maybe it's just an underlying issue that they have to work with developers on to get sorted. But overall, this card, like I would say, out of all of the cards in Dune Awakening, performed the worst. That being said, they released a driver update the next day that brought FPS and just overall stability up significantly. And if you go online, you can find a lot of details about that. People are just raving about the card now. So your experience definitely will vary. And when a game comes out and that technology pipeline starts flowing better with Intel, you're going to see less and less problems. And you're going to enjoy having this card more and more in your rig. The price to performance value for this card was 92%, which out of all the cards we tested was second. It has the most RAM, some of the highest benchmark scores, and is priced under the 5060. So it's really hard not to recommend this card as like the one to buy on this list out of all of the cards that we tested. But right now, people always talk about the security of future versions of this card, or the C series of this card. I'm not worried about that so much. What I am worried about is Intel's shrinking worker base and Intel shrinking the amount of people that are readily available to work on driver updates for this card. So I can't in good conscience put this as the first place card. Second place though, no problem with that. If you can get the B580 for MSRP, the solid card. There's a lot of catch up that Intel still does need to play, but you can just see the potential. My hope is that in a few years we have Team Red, Team Green, and Team Blue all competing for the same space, roughly at the same price points, which is the Intel price points, not the Nvidia price points. But I also want $1 billion to start fixing all the problems in the world, and that's just not going to happen. So for now, on this list, this card gets put in third place. The highs really do balance out the lows. This card gets put in third place. The highs really do balance out the lows, and it really, really keeps this card in the middle of the pack with potential in the future for it to be a much higher rated card. Okay. All right. So next, let's talk about 4060 Ti.
All right, we're going to move on to actually some computers now. All right. This thing's gonna take. So I'm almost done editing it, I think. How is that possible? Good morning, Cecil. How are you? All right. All right. So this is that desktop. Urgh. Let's see if she just turns on. And if she does, it's a problem with the SSD. And it just turns on. Do I try the second NVMe slot? Is that the solution here? I'm wondering if that'll actually fix this. All right, a little tired. Dealing with literally a single rain cloud. working fine now, of course. Let's see if this memory is bad. I can't do that. I can't do that one there. Can't leave that broken thing there. Seems to be working quite fine. And the reason I say that I believe it's fine is because it just turns on and whatnot. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let this. We're gonna let this be what it is. I don't know, Emily. I mean, legitimately, this thing is doing fine now. Let's try this way. Let's shut it down. Yeah, Emily. No, Emily. It's just old, Emily. Starts up just fine. Alright. We're going to call this person. It does have an SSD. this is Chris over at the computer shop. It's good. I made some updates to some stuff, and I think it's going to be stable. So, at this point, it's one of those things where I'm having trouble reproducing it, and like I was able to have it. It happened once, and it hasn't happened since then. Like I said, I made some updates. I updated the BIOS. I like changed the way some things are configured in the computer. If it happens again, then we'll just look at replacing the motherboard. But for now, I think it's good to go. None. No, it's a 30. You have a 30-day warranty, so. Probably Monday. Alrighty. You too. Okay. Alright, we've worked on one of these before. This is going to be what I work on first thing Monday. We have a USB-C replacement job. But it is a specific USB-C that I very, very vividly remember being incorrect. But the customer brought it in. And as soon as I show this to you, you'll probably, if you've been here long enough, you'll recognize that that is not going to line up. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. So we're going to work on this on Monday morning. Sleepy. No, doing stuff with the wife. We're gonna be doing like we are going to. I don't know. I gotta figure this out because I got stuff I gotta do at home at night, and she generally wants like to do things a couple times. I gotta figure out a good balance there because I want to stream a few nights a week for sure. No, I'm thinking about going to see a movie. I want to go see freaking Superman. I mean, maybe. Mm-hmm. Focus real quick. All right. Purchasing all. Yeah, we got a drive-in theater near us. It's up in Ruskin. Purchasing all. Oh, guys, I'm tired. Take me back to my bed. Sleep is where I want to be. No, Emily. Oh, okay, Em. Happy for you. This is Chris. Okay. It's $100 plus the cost of the screen, which, depending on if it's a touch screen or not, they usually start about 70 bucks. Sure, yeah, that's about like that's about where they start, 70 bucks. It really depends on how much the screen costs. But like I said, that's the general estimate. So we have to order the screen. Usually takes 3 to 5 days. All right. I do not fix phones. Yeah, I fix screens. I don't fix phones. Okay. No, Monday. Possibly. Like I said, it depends on how quickly the screen gets here, but usually it's 3 to 5 days. So if you bring it in on Monday, like it could be the following Monday before it's done. Mm-hmm. Stop doing this. What the heck? I know. I should do something about that. Like put something up on the stream. I just can't show you guys what I'm working on because if I did, I'd have to do this, which is show you what I'm working on, and then you can see my mouse moving around. Right now, I am making a backup of email and then importing that into something else. Yeah, it goes like. This is Chris. Yes, we do. It's a minimum of $50. Yeah. It's usually within 30 minutes, but my average cost for coming out to the house is 150 bucks. Alrighty. Yeah, it depends on how many things I have scheduled. Like for next week, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 days that are already booked out at this point. Uh huh. Absolutely. Why? Please, please finish backing up. Where is my file? Oh, please. Please. You still here, Ramrod? What about Star Wars Battlefront? I've been itching to play that game again. It was very cheap. Yeah, sure. Battlefront 2. Yeah, why wouldn't Battlefront 2 run on modern OS? It was designed for modern OSs. What are you talking about? I'm not talking about the OG one from the 90s. I have it installed on my PC at home. I need time to play. I just need to relax. I need some game time. And we can do that as a group. Are you working this weekend, Ram? You guys like my new haircut? It's my emo face. It's like a helmet. What I was going to say, Ram, is you should really check out... and now you can see my thin... Like, here, look. This is what I look like. I'm bald. You should really, really check out... buy it on Steam. Is it still on sale on Steam? There you go. XX Chris Hex. I told everyone about it that day I did that 24-hour stream. Excuse me. No. Yeah, it's back up to it's back up to $40. Yeah, that sucks. It's on. What are you talking, Master? You're looking at the wrong one. It was $3. Anyways, like if we got like a group together and just went and played this game, it doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how bad you are. We just go and we shoot stuff and have fun. I think it'd be a great time. I really do. That's what I want to do. I want to have fun with you guys. Because I'm a wild and crazy guy. Yeah. I don't know. We'll just keep an eye on it. Let me... So, what I was going to say, Ramrod, is you really, really should check out frickin' Dune Awakening. I really, really think you'd like it. Like, a lot. Because it is Fallout 76 with cars and stuff. It's fun. Dune. What is your name? Doom? 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 Helldivers 2. I want to try and get the boys into doing that. That doesn't make... What are we talking about? Dune or... What, Master? I knew you were going to call me. So it's receiving. Alright. Get this out of here. Alright, guys, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to just forward the phone to myself, and then I'm going to go... I got to help my mom with some stuff. And I might stream tonight. Just got off the phone with the wife. Might be doing some streaming tonight. I just need to help her finish a project. So, thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you guys later. If I don't see you tonight or tomorrow, see you on Monday. Bye, everybody.